don't have an advertiser at the moment. You all have been so generous over all these many years, and we haven't been asking for donations simply because we had advertisers and now we don't. So we are asking any of you who can give any amount of money. You can do that through PayPal at stillreport@gmail.com, or Bill has a Patreon account. And if any of you have a business that you would like to advertise on our channel, let us know that as well. Hi, we're back. We feel like it is very interesting what happens to a person when they lose their internet. We lost our internet for about 12 hours, and it was almost like we were lost. I went to the grocery store, and Bill went to Sheets. I mean, we were looking for a place to get the internet. But we are back, and there's, as always, there's a lot going on. There's a report just this morning that Israel bombed Syria, and we don't know a whole lot about it, but the prime minister has issued a statement, and one of the things he said was for his citizens to stay out of Syria. And the other issue that the reason he bombed Syria was because Syria is oppressing the Druze. I'm not 100% sure what the Druze are. I know it's a religious sect. I don't know a whole lot about them, but apparently Syria is really bearing down hard on them. I know they are also persecuting Christians, and so he has decided to go in and do something about it. There'll be a lot more to come out about this information later. I just wanted to get
Okay.
that off there, the top.
Okay. Well, my story is something new on Wired magazine. And Wired magazine used to be real good a long time ago, and then they started going left, and I just abandoned them totally. And now they've, for the first time, this is the first story that they've come out with that's even-handed, and it's amazing. The first story was yesterday that I talked about, but this is an improvement on it. Nearly 3 minutes of footage were cut from the U.S. Department of Justice and FBI's version of the full raw surveillance tape outside of Jeffrey Epstein's cell block or cell. The video was released last week as part of the Trump administration's commitment to fully investigate Epstein's 2019 death, but instead has raised new questions about how the footage was edited and assembled. So yesterday I reported that they had just about 1 minute, had cut out about 1 minute of the video footage, and explaining, well, that every month we stop for 1 minute, and that didn't make sense to me. So here's the improved version. Now, a further analysis shows that the source clips were approximately 2 minutes and 53 seconds longer than the segment included in the final video. In other words, there were, instead of 1 minute cut, there's 2 minutes and 53 seconds. And I went, yeah, how long would it take some killer to come out of that elevator and go over and be admitted to Epstein's cell and then kill him by strangulation? That'd be hard to do in 1 minute, but 3 minutes, yeah, that'd be a lot easier. So that's my big story.
In other news, one of the things that has come out just recently is that the gentleman who killed the lawmakers in Minnesota had a manifesto. He had a long letter that he wrote explaining what was going on. And in part of his letter, he talks about the fact now he was employed by Tim Walz. Tim Walz personally hired him to do whatever his position was at the time. And Tim Walz, according to this man, asked him to kill Amy Klobuchar. And he said he could not do that. Now, why he killed these other two people, I don't really know the full information, but this entire letter that he wrote is long and complicated, and some of it is redacted, but it all goes back to Tim Walz. Tim Walz is the governor of Minnesota and ran as Kamala's
Right.
ran as Kamala's vice president candidate. He was a vice president candidate for what, a month, 2 months, some short period of time. At any rate, there's obviously going to be a lot more information to come out about this. But as I'm reading through it, I am remembering, and we've posted Julie Green's words, and a while back she had a word that the truth about Tim Walz was going to come out. In any case, it is very damning. He goes through the whole thing. He talks about what their plan was. Tim Walz wants to be senator. Amy won't retire, and this and that. And Ellis, he just talks about the whole. It's a complicated sort of letter, but I think it's very interesting, and I think we ought to pay attention to it and see what happens. He sent it to the FBI as his manifesto, I guess you would call it. So there's that going on. Adam Schiff is in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Aren't you sad? You're supposed to be sad about that.
I just look like I'm happy, but I'm really so sad.
It looks like he may have committed mortgage fraud, which does that surprise anybody? Surprise! Adam Schiff! Oh, surprise!
Seems to have been a disease circulating amongst the Democratic Party at one point.
Letitia James, Adam Schiff.
Who knows what else?
Well, there's some questions about I think Nancy, I don't know. They're all of them. That I don't know what it is with these people, but mortgage fraud seems to be. I guess they think it's easy to get away with it because Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac were in the back pocket of the Democrats, so they were thinking maybe they wouldn't say anything. I don't really know, but that is going on. Also, too, 2 days ago, the north lawn of the White House was shut down by the Secret Service for 30 minutes. Did you know that?
No.
Some tourist threw their cell phone over the fence. And so it caused them great concern, and they shut the north lawn of the White House down for 30 minutes while they gathered up the cell phone and I guess made sure there were no explosives attached to it. I don't really know. It's humorous in one way. It's like a cell phone comes flying over the fence and they shut down the north lawn of the White House for 30 minutes. A man with a gun, however, on the roof of a building at a rally where President Trump is, it's no big deal. Nothing to see there. Just a man with a rifle on the roof that wasn't sloped. Not far from the intended target, and they just ignore it. But a cell phone, that might be dangerous. It might have blown up.
The north lawn is pretty close to the street. That's the closest place to the street that you can get to the White House. It's where all the press enters through the north gate, civilians who don't work there. And so, they get real upset if something happens on the north lawn. That's why protesters always stage themselves across that fence on the north side. Yeah, you kind of want to talk to that guy whoever did that. Were you thinking you were ever going to get that phone back?
Oh, I know, right? And now how would you like the Secret Service to have hold of your phone? All your text messages would be leaked out and posted.
And studied.
And studied. And they might come knocking at your door because you made a joke about something about them. I don't know. But, the Secret Service just can't seem to stay out of the news. Whether it was just the other day that Secret Service agent invited a woman to come to the White House and see where, unfortunately for him, it was a Project Veritas person. You remember the reporter? And unfortunately for him, he's trying to, I don't know, make points with this woman. She must have been really good looking. And he says, I can't stand this. What do you call him? This felon in the White House. I'm like, when you can't stand the person you are supposed to protect, I think it's time for you to exit. In fact, that's why Dan Bongino left the Secret Service. Did you know that?
No.
I heard him in an interview. They probably scrubbed it, but I heard him in an interview say that he realized when he was in the Secret Service that he was not willing to take a bullet for Obama, so he resigned.
Right, I'd heard that too.
He stepped down, which is admirable. I mean,
Right.
If you're not willing to take a bullet for your protectee, then you should step down. And it sounds like this guy wasn't. And I would feel bad for him, but he was doing absolutely the wrong thing. And
Yeah, but the error in that logic is all of the assassins work for the Democrats anyway, so he was perfectly safe.
you're right. When you read this manifesto of this guy talking about Tim Walz, you will understand. And in other news, the weather.
Wow. Yep. Go to it. It's unbelievable, but
It is.
we've officially joined the conspiracy theory group.
Yeah, I've been here for a while, but there's no doubt that they are manipulating the weather, the cloud seeding, and all of this other stuff they're doing. But I have to tell you, last night in our house, I'm surprised we still have electricity. It was, and I grew up in the South. I'm used to thunderstorms. You know, you are too. I mean, I've been through thunderstorms, hurricane, you name it. It was very scary. I have never seen anything like these thunderstorms we're having.
I saw more lightning last night than I have totally in the past 2 years, all put together. And that might be an underestimation. Maybe the last 5 years, there was so much lightning. It was continuous on both sides of the house. It was
Both,
like
yeah.
we were being targeted with lightning or something. But
No, but it's true. And I was in our living room lying down on the sofa, admittedly scared because the house was shaking. The lightning was so strong. It's the thunder you hear.
there
So,
was no
you know,
lapse. There was no lapse between the flash and so that
right,
means it was within a
right,
thousand feet. And
right.
you'd hear it coming like a sizzle, zzz,
Yes,
boom,
exactly.
and then the boom and the lightning flash were simultaneous, and you're going, that was close, and
Yeah. When I saw one of our cats running across the yard full speed to get to the house, I said, "Uh-oh, it's going to be a bad
yeah,
storm."
that's our outdoor cat. She doesn't usually come to the house.
No, she likes to stay outside. But and that's something that to always remember, watch animals. They know. They just know. I remember where we used to live one time on a horse farm, and if I somebody said, "Is it going to be a bad storm?" I said, "No, the horses are still out in the field." You knew when it was going to be a bad storm, they would come running into the stall.
Right.
They just know these things. So there's that. And speaking of weather, kind of, we know that the fires in California were started by arson. I'm not going to say the government started the fires, but they sure as heck made it hard to put them out. That
Right.
they had no water in the hydrants. They wouldn't release the water because they were saving a fish or something. President Trump had to actually get the water turned on. And so a lot of people lost homes, lost their land. Governor Newsom, once again, lied to his people, shocking, just like Adam Schiff is shocking, and promised that they weren't going to do what they're doing. They're buying up this burned out land because the people didn't have enough insurance. I understand that, and insurance rates in California must be sky high, and they probably didn't have enough in order to rebuild, and so they're buying up the land. They're going to put low rent housing on it, probably for illegal aliens or whatever, the government. And so help California, look, you got to get rid of these governors. You cannot vote for another Democrat governor. Even if they're cheating to win, you've got to make it too big to rig. You just have to, right?
Right.
You just have to do it. You can't have another governor. For heaven's sakes, Kamala's thinking about running. You can't do that. You can't have her because you don't get Kamala, who is dumber than toast. You get the toaster.
Yeah,
You
you get
get the
Obama still at the wheel.
yeah. You get or yeah, and George Soros and all these other people, you get them. And they run the state. And she just makes word salad, but takes the money. Takes the money and runs. Right?
Yeah, is that enough?
I think so. I think wait, I want to do something. We had somebody comment on the fact that I always pray out loud online. And so I thought we would do something a little differently. I think that every single person out there, pretty much, I'm guessing, knows the Our Father. The Our Father is the prayer that Jesus taught us to pray. So I thought I would invite you all to pray along with us.
Nice. Okay.
Okay? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Thy
Thy
kingdom
kingdom
come,
come, thy
will
will
be
be done,
done
on
earth
earth
as
as
it
it
is
is
in
in
heaven.
heaven.
Give
Give
us
us
this
this day
day
our
our daily
daily
bread,
bread.
and forgive us
Forgive us our
our debts,
debts,
trespasses,
trespasses.
as
Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive others. Oh,
lead us
for
not into temptation,
temptation,
but
for
deliver us from
from
evil.
evil.
For
For
thine is
thine
the
is the
kingdom, the
kingdom, the
power,
power,
and
and
the
the
glory.
glory.
Amen.
Amen. Now and forever. Amen. Well, some versions say are translated debts and some are translated trespasses. So, you can tell we grew up in different.
We flipped. We
We
know
flipped.
that, and we both flipped.
Yeah, I
So,
know.
anyway,
So, anyway,
thanks.
bye.